At 4 o'clock, we got Portland State, which started off its season with a loss, traveling to Washington, which started off its season with a win over Kent State. Washington favored by 31 points on the Pac-12 network. Michael Penix Jr. through the air went 26-39 last week, threw for 345 yards, 4 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Wayne Taulapapa had 11 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown, and Jalen McMillan through the air had 5 catches for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. What I think is going to be really interesting about Washington is this is a tune-up game, right? Next week they're going to face Michigan State, and that's a tough game. It's going to be a tough game for Washington, and especially they're going to be on the road. It's going to be the first game on the road this year, so it's going to be a pretty significant game for Washington next week. This is their tune-up game. And for Michael Penix Jr., Michigan State has kind of owned you when you were at Indiana. They were the better football team the majority of the time you played them. Washington is in an interesting situation here. Obviously, the Pac-12 isn't the strongest conference this year, especially the North, where your main rival, Oregon, just lost badly 49-3. Now, it's not going to end up impacting your Pac-12 stats, but if you're Washington, you're looking at that. Maybe this is a sign that you could win that side this year. There's not a lot of talent on that side. Oregon State is arguably the other best team. Washington State looked dreadful, to say the very least. And USC, UCLA, and Utah, the 3 teams that you could expect to be serious Pac-12 contenders this year, are all on the same side. So they can all beat up on each other. I think that's going to be really interesting. That's going to favor Washington. And if Washington starts off its season hot, it could be a chance to make a top 25 and maybe even make the Pac-12 championship this year. Michael Penix Jr. is a good enough quarterback. I obviously think they win. I think they cover against Portland State, although Portland State did put up a fight last week.